and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one thinks countries laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force of air. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one thinks countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens, and this is a new show on UCY TV called Game On. And I'm going to explain later on why I called it that. I kind of searched hard for a bunch of names here. I was originally going to call this show The Great Global Train Wreck. And I got thinking about it, and it just sounded a little too negative for me. So thought about a few other names. And Game On sounded like a reasonable name because it is Game On, and it's time that we understood what we're up against. And we are up against, make no mistake about it, we're up against a team that consists of an international crime syndicate. And we have the job of beating them back and taking our lands back from them. Now, they've been in control for a very, very long time. We do not have countries. This is something that people are finally wrapping their minds around. We do not have countries. If you look up the definition of country, it just simply says rural lands. It doesn't say Canada, or it doesn't say America, it doesn't say Australia or Britain or Germany or anywhere else. It just says rural lands. And that's exactly what country is. We are, I don't know how to say this nicely, we are slaves on the plantation, just like the blacks were slaves on the plantations long, long time ago. And this is where we are today. Nothing's ever changed. So they've run this international crime ring for a long time, and they've conned us badly into believing that we have countries. We, wave the flag, which is just a corporate flag, and we're promoting those who enslave us, and that's unfortunate. So the idea of having a show called Game On is to understand this is a game, and we have, while they're a better financed team, a better educated team, they understand the game much better than we do, although many people now are getting a real handle on how this game operates. we have the bodies. Okay, we have the bodies. They may own the system, but we built everything in the system. We own the system. We own the land. Our feet are on the land. Possession is 90% of the law. So, when I call the game on, it's basically call it bottom of the ninth, call it the seventh and deciding game in a hockey game, call it a football game. If you're a race fan, you're the guy who's not supposed to win. Okay, but you get this team together who decides, you know what, we don't have the financing, we don't have the highest tech stuff, but we do have the determination. In an awful lot of cases, that core determination is what wins. You always come across these upsets in that, in a sporting event or whatever, or any other conflict. Where the side that it's not supposed to win wins. But that's a decision they made. They decided they're going to win. And they put their team together. Then they won. And that's what we have to do now. It's as simple as that. So, this particular show I'm doing here now, I'm hoping that we can engage people to help others understand what the game is and understand the game, what we have to do, where we can attack. And the only place we can attack is at the local level, because it's a global crime syndicate that's running this, and they control your local government. Make no mistake about it. Okay, that's where the term global to local came from. The global crime syndicate takes what it wants, and it gets your local government. Tom and Susie and Edna, who sit on your local council, maybe Bill, they're implementing this agenda. And they're classed as useful idiots. And they are useful idiots, really, because what kind of idiot would do the bidding of those whose mindset is to destroy you? Who would do that bidding? Only a useful idiot would do that. And that's why they're sitting on your town councils. They ate up the propaganda. Okay, they weren't bright enough to see through the propaganda. I.e., the main thrust of this psychological war we're in, which is the use of environment to get us to give up everything, to move into these high-density cities, these high-density towns, watching everybody be run off to rural areas. I mean, this didn't just start last week. Okay, this has been going on for a very, very long time. And so it is up to us, each and every one of us, to put a game face on and understand who we're playing against. Now, I hear these people, and I used to use the term myself way back when, the elite. There's nothing elite about these people. Okay, they just happen to have us hoodwinked into believing that they have some kind of special place on this planet, and that they have the guns, of course. But they're not elite. They're psychopaths. They're sociopaths. But they're definitely not elites. They're very sick people, actually. I mean, who else would start a world depression but very sick psychopathic people? Who would start a war? Sick psychopathic people. Okay? So why do we put up with this? Simple, because we never look behind the curtain. We never pull the curtain back to figure out that the same people are always pulling the strings. The same people are pushing the levers. The same people are telling us what to believe, what not to believe, who to stand behind and who to go to war with. What we learn in the schools is what? Their propaganda. Okay? They run the school system. I mean, I know when I first got into this again, I first looked into this in 1974 when I was a young reporter in Calgary, and went to the research library and dug through some of these big dusty old books and kind of got a clue what was going on. And I warned people way back then that we're going to wake up. And while we're playing the patriotic game and being good citizens, they are busy writing international agreements and treaties and that to give global power to this crime syndicate. And that's what they've been doing all along. And now they're coming at us. They're pulling out all the stops now. And they intend to crush your life while they smile at you. Now, that's a classic case of a psychopathic sociopath. And that's who they are. They only control the game because we haven't paid any attention to what they're up to or who they are. And that's unfortunate because how many people have they hurt over the years and the decades and the centuries? Every war was created by these people. Every depression was created by these people. Then they got a hold of your healthcare system. How's that working out for everybody? They got a hold of your food system. How's that working out for everybody? They got a hold of your education system, your religious system, your political system. Where does that leave us? Well, in a pretty sorry state. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, so they think. And we'll just put up with it because the media, which they control, plays on your mind, tells you what to think, what to read, what to believe. And it's all tiered on top of each other. So you can't get away from the propaganda. From the day you're born, you've been propagandized. The upside is the propaganda has been so thick and so unrelenting for so long. And because they're pulling out all the stops now, their propaganda, which at one point was actually constructed in a way that it was pretty believable. But now they're pulling all the stops, right? They're running for the goal now. And the propaganda is becoming absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can pick up a copy of a National Enquirer and it make more damn sense to you than what you read on the front page of a newspaper or what the talking head on the TV tells you. I mean, their stories are getting so lame and ridiculous that people are going, well, that can't be right. And that makes me smile. You know, I went through and I watched some clips of TV news reports the other day. And I don't have a TV. I haven't had one for a long time. And it's incredible to watch these talking heads spew the garbage they're spewing with a straight face. It's even more incredible that people tune into this garbage and actually believe what they're being told. Or they may not believe that talking head, but they turn the channel and the same talking head is saying the same thing. And they turn the channel and another talking head is saying the same thing. And they pick up a newspaper and the print is telling you the same thing the other talking heads just told you. That's constant, unrelenting propaganda coming at you. It's not news. It's propaganda. So what I'm hoping to do with this show is I want to get a game team or a team together here. And we have to go out on the field, the ice, whatever, the track, whatever suits your mind. And it's got to be game on. You know, we cannot let these clowns win by default. To date, we haven't shown up at the game. That's why they've gotten where they've gotten to. We need the mindset to come back of our forefathers who tried to get away from the tyranny they lived under. And the idea was to come to the new world. And they got on them boats, didn't know where they were going. All they knew was that there was a chance to get out from underneath this tyranny. So they took the chance. And they came to the new world. And they hacked out their towns and villages and farms to start a new life. Now they constructed a republic in America. Fought a war of independence. Why did they fight? Because it was time for game on. They put their team and they fought. Because they knew where they came from and why they came to the new world. Then the lawyers came. And the bankers came. And the republic was lost. Didn't last very long, the republic. I believe it was Jefferson. And, you can look at these guys, one of two ways. Either they were the great statesmen or they weren't. That's not really that important right now. The fact is that Jefferson, I believe it was, said, we gave you a republic if you can hang on to it. Well, he didn't hang on to it very long. Okay, you got hoodwinked pretty quick. It's been downhill ever since. The moral values have been ripped from the nations. And everything has been taken control of once again by the same clowns, sociopaths, psychopaths, that your forefathers are trying to get away from. Now, it's different this time. It's different this time. And we don't need a shoot-'em-up war. It's not the plan this time. The plan is to get you to consent. And I always got to keep bringing that back up. If you haven't read it, go read it. 1950 Senate hearings with Warburg. Stated specifically, we will have a world government by consent or by conquest. Now, they're going to have a hard time bombing places like America, Canada, Australia. They're going to have a tough time bombing places. It just won't fly. Okay? They're convinced that they have gotten us to consent. But you can't consent to something that hasn't been disclosed to you. And that's the upside. More and more people are understanding what this consent requires of them. And they're not too happy about going there. So this fight, this war that we're in, and it is a war, it's a psychological war, to get you to consent. We have to put a stop to that. Consent out of ignorance is not consent. Okay? So you need to get out there and you need to talk to your neighbors, your friends, your community people. You need to call your counselors at the local level. And I mean call them constantly, unrelentingly, to tell them, and not just you, your friends, your neighbors, the other people in the community, that we get it and we ain't putting up with it. And it's game on. Either you back off or we're going to back you out of where you're sitting. Okay? We will not allow you at our local level, our supposed elected representatives, who they are not, They're just corporate minions. They do not represent you. They cannot represent you because there's an old maxim, you can't be beholden to two masters, and they are beholden to the International Crime Syndicate. Therefore, it is impossible for them to represent you. And therefore, they have no business sitting in your local community hall pretending that they do. Everything that they're doing is to undermine your way of life. The way of life that your forefathers saw and believed that they could achieve. So it's not really that difficult to turn this mess around. All we got to do is say we get it and it's game on. We have more people to draw from. And if you've ever talked to a local council member, they're not the brightest bulbs on the planet. If they were, they wouldn't be sitting there because they wouldn't be doing the bidding of the International Crime Syndicate. To do the bidding of the syndicate is to destroy their own lives and the lives of their children and their grandchildren. Not too friggin' bright. So we know that your local so-called representatives, they're not the brightest bulbs on the planet. We know that. They're people who are, how would I describe that? They're easily flattered. They have these little egos that when you stroke the ego, if somebody from above them strokes their ego and flatters them and say, you know, Jane or Bill or John or Betty, well, we've been watching you and your little business here or whatever it is they do or your volunteer work. And, you know, we think you have what it takes to be a upstanding member of council. And they would go, me on council? I never thought of that. Oh, I don't think I could do that. Oh, but we've been watching you. And we believe that you would make a wonderful counselor. No pressure, think it over. Talk to your husband and that. You go to church, don't you, Betty? Maybe you'd like to talk to your preacher, pastor, your priest, and throw by him. So they go home and they talk to their husbands or wives, you know, and they say, you know, they said maybe I should run for council. They think I have the capacity for that job. They think I do a wonderful job for the community. And I did talk to the priest, pastor, or the reverend, and he seems to be of the same opinion. That's how easily it is to hoodwink these idiots. Stroke the ego, a little flattery, and you got them hooked. And now they become beholden to the flatterers and the ego strokers, and they feel important. Don't have a clue. When the one approached in the first place said honestly, I don't think I have the capacity for this position, they were absolutely correct. They didn't and they don't. But a little flattery, a little ego stroking, and guess what you've just created? A useful idiot doing the bidding for the International Crime Syndicate. And these poor mentally deranged people sit there on your council, and if you bring up an intelligent conversation with them or you try to explain to them what they're involved in, they have a bank of lawyers and handlers who tell you, oh, that's one of those conspiracy theorists. You don't want to listen to them. And that's your local council, folks. These are the people that are in charge of your school boards. These are the people in charge of your property taxes. And I won't get into property right now because really you don't own anything anyways. So, you know, we are subjects. Just like our forefathers were subjects. We're subservient to our rulers. And the only reason there are rulers is because we haven't paid enough attention. we have been given this idea that they are above us somehow. They're more intelligent than us. They're doing what they do for our benefit. When in fact they're doing the exact opposite. You know, anyone that would say that they're a citizen of a country, if you look in Webster's 1913, I think, geez, that just happens to be the year the Fed was created, isn't it? It will say that a subject is convertible, or a citizen is convertible with subject. They mean the same damn thing. Okay, you're still subject. You're subject to the wishes of the plantation owners. It's almost silly because the slaves, those people who are hijacked from their own lands and dragged over here in different places to as cheap labor to create the product needed for the settlers and for the so-called country, who lived on the plantations. Now, while they were, you know, I don't know how well they were looked after. I do know that if any of them said, you know, to the other slaves, you know, like, we're slaves. We work and they profit from us. We need to do something about that. Now, that slave would go into the woodshed and take a whooping to show the other slaves it's not worth the trouble to stand up because we put a hurt on your guy. But nothing's changed. I mean, black slave, white slave, red slave, yellow slave, it makes no difference, folks. Everything you do to fill the pockets of your rulers. All the laws and the so-called laws, because it's not law, all the so-called laws, rules, and regulations that come down for the citizens / subjects to follow and abide by are created to enslave you, no different than the slave on the plantation. You can't get off it. And if you do get off it, they're going to drag your ass in and punish you. No different off the so-called plantation. You're still on the plantation. And if you look at it from one angle, it's almost worse than the slaves that were brought over here. The slaves that were brought over here, the plantation owner had certain duties to his slaves. He had to supply them with housing. It may not have been the best housing. He supplied them with their clothes, supplied them with their food. Okay? And we looked at this, oh, look at them poor slaves down in the plantations. Well, look at it this way. The slave worked hard, you work hard. The slave's basic necessities were supplied by the plantation. Out here, you work hard, you earn income, they take it away when you pay for your food, your clothing, your housing, your transportation. By the time it's over, what do you got? Nothing. Why is that? Because you're on the plantation. And where does all the profit from your labor go? Into the same hands. The plantation owners. Now, if you go back, you know, there is a book that said God created the heavens, the earth, and everything on it, the animals, and yada, 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 and that he gave man dominion. That would be you and I. That was taken away. Follow me or be as slaves. Wow. You see how that worked out for everybody. So again, the whole point of this show is to encourage you to get your butt in gear. Okay? Get your game face on, because it is game time. And they're pushing extremely hard right now. And this is the perfect time to put your teams together, because there isn't a community anywhere on this planet that hasn't been negatively impacted by these psychopaths, sociopaths. Nowhere. And they're sucking the lifeblood out of every inch of this planet and everybody on it. The upside now is that they're pushing hard, so they're negatively affecting everybody. Okay? It's not like they center a small group of people out like they did at Waco or Ruby Ridge or one of these places. Okay? Can we use the propaganda machine to turn the slaves against the slaves, basically, or the citizens against the citizens, or the subjects against the subjects? Use whatever term you want to use, they're all the same. They could do that, and they did do that many, many times. Because people they didn't see themselves as being negatively affected to the point where they are now. And I want to thank the media, and I want to thank these nutcase policemen who are wandering around telling little kids that they can't have a lemonade stand or they can't feed a homeless person or that. All of this stuff is starting to get people to think, like, what the hell is going on here? Everyone the middle class has basically been gutted. The good paying jobs have been sent overseas. And now they're coming at you for the final bankruptcy of you by ever increasing hydro bills, water bills, taxes, so on and so forth. New rules and regulations on what you can and can't do on your so-called property. So there isn't a neighbor out there that hasn't got a beef now. People are bitching and complaining all the time now. What the hell's with my gas price? What's with my water bill? What the hell's going on? This is your opportunity. You couldn't have done this 5 years ago, folks. You would have been labeled a nutcase, a conspiracy theorist, or whatnot. Now, you're the man or woman with the knowledge. And make no mistake, knowledge is power. But you can have all the knowledge in the world, and if you don't put it to work for you, it's worthless. So now we have a situation in our communities all over the world where people want to know what the hell's going on and why they're struggling so hard. And this is your opportunity to bring the game. And we will win. Because there's no other options. And this idea of, oh, well, send a letter to your congressman or your politician or, get out your little protest signs. We'll protest this or we'll protest that. Well, look at how well that's worked out for you over the decades and the centuries. It doesn't, it didn't, and it never will. Nothing makes the International Crime Syndicate happier than seeing petitions come across their desks and to see little protests and that. They love it. They absolutely love it because they know you're not going to do anything. And this idea that you or the people believe that these protests and these petitions are ever going to accomplish anything, if you still believe that, well, you need to go take a quick look at some history and see how well it didn't work out. So, you haven't had a game on, and so now we have to do things differently. And we have to get in their faces. We have to expose them for what they are. And we don't have to get nasty with them, so to speak. If a counselor here or the mayor here, or actually the mayor even not here, see me coming, they take off. If I catch them in a restaurant or a grocery store or something, they just bow their heads and hope like hell, please don't let him see me. Please don't let him see me. I got to get out of here before he sees me. I haven't even said boo to them. Okay? They're cockroaches. And they know that if I speak to them, everybody within earshot is going to be listening. I was at the counter one time, and there was one of the counselors, and she saw me in the grocery store, and I mean, she squatted down, kind of ducked down, and kind of turned her head, and she's sneaking around the aisles, and I ain't following her. I mean, I'm laughing my ass off inside, right? I pretend I didn't even see her. And just her mannerisms were ridiculous. And then when we got to the counter, she just happened to be at the counter next door checking her stuff out. And she's got her head down, and I just, oh, hi, Maureen, how are you? And she looks, oh, hi, Ron, how are you doing? I'm doing great. I'm glad to see you. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for hanging up on me the other day when I called you. I really appreciate being hung up on, and you did it well, and I thank you for it. Well, down goes her head again, and out the door she goes fast as her little feet can take her. And everyone else that was around that area in the grocery store started giggling and saying things like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do what you do. Well, you can, and you must. Okay? These people are not above you. They are below you. You are honest with a moral compass. They are lost. They're devious. They're useful idiots. They're doing the work that is given to them to do by the International Crime Syndicate. Of course they're below you. They're criminals, and you're not. What they do is follow a formula designed to harm you. Harm is against the law. You can't hurt somebody, but this is what they do. They call it legislation. Okay, but you cannot legislate a fraud into existence, into a lawful position. But this is what we've all been hoodwinked into. So, I'm going to be looking for people here to get on the horn. I want to hear from you folks out there. Big time and ASAP. We're going to get a game on here or we're all going down. Now, I heard a lot, I talked to a lot, like I get older people. I'm saying older people, I'm 60 now. What the hell's an older people? We're going to get this game going here, but it really irritates me when I talk to people my age or some of them younger in their 50s and that. They'll go, oh, well, nothing you can do about it, and well, what the hell, I'll be dead and long dead and gone before they ever get their final plan together. And that really sickens me to hear that come out of a man or woman's mouth. Because all you've said is you don't give a sweet bejesus about your children or your grandchildren or their children. Okay? And that's really pathetic to hear. But that attitude, I think, is changing. So, you know, these shows that we do on these networks, and I want to very much thank Jules, who runs this, and I also want to thank those who encouraged me to do a show here, and I feel welcomed here, and I've been doing this a long time. But, you know, the idea of us just getting on here and yammering on about the latest news and stuff and what's going on in Ukraine or Syria or whatever the conflict of the month is, and bitching about Monsanto, we can do that till the cows come home, or we can do that till they kill all the cows because they don't want us eating meat because, well, it takes a gazillion gallons of water to produce a steak. So we need to get our game on, and we got to get it going now. Anyways, JJ is on after me, and he is available now. So I'm going to bring him in because I was on his show last week, and I want to thank him very much for having me on. Some people thought I talked too much. Well, sorry to everyone. That's what I do. So I'm gonna bring JJ in now, and I want to talk about some of the stuff that's actually going on in America right now. I saw a clip of and I saw it on some news feeds too, of apparently Hillary Clinton is going to run for president, and I guess her byline this time is the youngest woman president. Now, I didn't have any airline bags when I saw this. I really wish I had because I was feeling rather nauseous. And maybe James can give us his thoughts on that. So I'm going to bring James in now.
Hello.
Hello, JJ.
Ron Stevens, yes.
How are you, my friend?
Doing well, man. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I'm a shift worker now.
You're working the board, huh?
Well, I do that show on Revolution Radio from 10 till midnight, and then so 12 hours later I'm on here, and as happens too often, I got to bed like last night like 3:30.
Wait.
Well, somebody will usually sometimes call after the show, or I have a researcher who is brilliant. She just reminds me of Mae Brussels, man. This woman, she's a housewife. She's brilliant. So she dug up some new stuff last night, and we were up till about 3:30 looking at it. So noon come by quick.
I remember the days.
Pardon me?
I said I've been there, man. I remember. I used to do a show, and sometimes be 3 hours after the show, and I'm still either talking to a guest or what have you.
Yeah, people think when we're done the show, we're gone, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way, folks.
Before, a couple hours after.
Yeah. So you're a Hillary fan? I don't know.
Yeah, I love Hillary.
Well, I saw a clip there yesterday, and there seems to be a hell of a pile of Hillary fans.
Down in New York City, I know. Well, and I can't explain it.
I think there's a
really
big
can't. I don't know how she got elected here. I don't know anything. I mean, I work in a town like I work for rich people. I guess I fix their houses and keep their things going for them. And there ain't there's every one of them because she vacationed here in my area, and so they all got pictures of themselves shaking hands with a freaking demon from hell, and they're all proud of it.
No, I saw those people, and yeah, it's like she's yammering on about the rich people and how they don't pay taxes and how you little people working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep a roof over your head. This can't continue. And I'm thinking, well, who are you?
Yeah, because
is she one of these poor people working 2 or 3 jobs, or is she one of these rich people she's bitching about?
No, she's one of those. She's one of those people that think 4 or 5 of us poor families should all live together under one roof.
Yeah, in a high density by the rail tracks, and everything will be good, right?
Right. Well, that's part of what the Global Clinton Initiative is, man. That's an Agenda 21. I know it's a philanthropy. I can't even say the frickin' word because it doesn't even sound right. A philanthropic endeavor, which it isn't. It's just another money making scheme, just another charity. But Clinton was tied right into. He helped form ICLEI, which is the Intercontinental Panel on Climate Change here in America.
Yeah.
ICLEI, which is just an offshoot of Agenda 21. Anytime, everywhere you go in the state, you see some sign saying we're going green. Whenever you see going green, that's Agenda 21. They're rewilding out here now. And people say, well, that's good. That's rewild. What do you mean rewild? You know what I mean? So I got to move in the city?
Well, yeah, you read the problem, 85% of everyone lives in the cities now. Why is that? Because you ran them off the land into the cities, right?
Exactly.
My attitude is get the hell out of the city and repopulate the rural areas.
Yeah, so you can grow your own food, so you don't have to have it shipped into you.
We can run our own industries, right?
Yeah.
No, they've run everybody off, right?
Yeah.
And whoever's left they're going to try and run them off. They're going to cut the services, right? They won't plow the snow in the winter. They won't send an ambulance out there because it's not cost effective. And you're the problem. You're always the problem.
Yeah, and at this
And
point,
if you, yeah,
well, at this point, how do we? I mean, normally I'd say, well, that's great, but in order to do that, we have to stop paying our taxes to the federal government, so we can use that money to hire. They won't. They'll say exactly what you just said. Well, we'll stop giving you water, and we're all going to be Palestinians. We'll be
That's
living in a
it.
giant Gaza Strip, where we can't afford to. We have to take if they stop plowing our streets, we'll have to plow our own streets. But they don't want us. They're never going to give us a break on our taxes. So you're going to be damned if you do, damned if you don't. Just rip it off. I just say rip it off like a panty. We don't need them. We don't need the government. Hell, the way things are going, do we even need plowed roads at that? You know what I'm saying?
The real question is, do we need a federal government?
No, we don't.
Right? And we need community government like we used to have, right? And probably state government, but it has to be handled completely different. Once the Feds showed up, they took control of all the states, which control the locals.
Yeah.
So you're screwed that way. And when you get an idiot like Clinton, I mean, I can't even believe that she's standing there with a straight face talking to these people, and these people are going, yay!
He speaks for us.
Well, I mean, wow, that just every time I see something like that, I just see Brzezinski's face going, ha, 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 told you, take 2.5, 3 generations to just mind screw you people. So you can't have a thought.
Yeah, listen to this, Ron. So there's this meme on Facebook. It's not my meme. The only meme I ever put out is a fuck a Facebook meme. But so there's this meme. It's a picture of George Bush and a picture of Barack Obama, and it calls them both war criminals and murderers and all that. And so I just, I'm not even really thinking. I just hit the share button, so it went up onto my wall. So all the dolts that look at my wall look at it, and so it's pretty much split down the middle. Half the people think I'm an asshole for calling George Bush a war criminal, and the other people, but they have no problem at all with Barack Obama being a communist, cross-dressing, crack-smoking, closet homosexual, but not George Bush. And then I get the other side that are, highly offended that, that I would think that Barack Obama, the left-wing savior of the planet, our Bolshevik leader, would be put into that same. So, Americans are so stuck in the Republican Democrat bullcrap that I don't see any way out of it.
Well, it's like when I watched the Dodds or the Reese report or Reese Commission report with Norman Dodds, and he says, so like, what are the tax exempt foundations up to? Oh, it says simple. We're charged with Sovietizing America, and that was a long, long time ago. And do you see any signs of the Sovietization of America, folks?
Oh man, you see the planks of the Communist Manifesto all over, and I don't know how. There must be here's the thing, though, communism, democracy, they're both heads of the same frickin' wolf, pretty much, but a little bit different than each other. One is predatory government. The other is pretty much predatory corporations with giant, both in bed with government.
Yeah.
So, what is the way out, bro? To me is like we were saying when you were on my show. you can turn your back on the system. You can go to the town halls and say, you know what, I know you guys don't care, but I'm calling bullshit on everything you just said.
And that's the
Just
whole
go there.
answer.
Just do it.
That's the answer, JJ. I mean, that's what I've been trying to tell people for a long time. Is that you know, there's your problem right there. Okay, the International Crime Syndicate, and that's all it is running your local council, and they're doing the bidding of that syndicate.
Yeah.
So you need to get in their face. Okay, and if I mean, just got to stay on them. You know,
Yeah. You don't have to get biblical or anything like that. Leave that to the people that you know who are you know well versed there. Just get out there. You know, I always used to say, whatever it is that you can think to do is the right thing to do. Certainly, man. I don't really know if there's going to be a way to save. You know, I mean, people just keep thinking that there's that. I don't know. A lot of it has to do with the fact that the truth industry exploits people just like the entire civil rights industry, the Holocaust industry. They go around and convince people that things were better when they were a kid, which, I mean, it is obvious that things were different when I was a kid. My mom didn't have to work until I was young. Then all of a sudden she had to get a job and just things started heading downhill. But, you know, is that what I want? Where I could, you know, do I want to go back to the 70s? Do I want to go back to the 40s? Do I want to go back to the 1800s, to the 17th century? You know, where do I want to go back to? And nobody agrees to where they want to go.
Well, we can't go back to anything because we've never had anything. They've controlled in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s and the 40s and the 30s and the 20s and the 1800s and the 1600s. They have controlled the board. So to go back to anything is to go back to what they had constructed for us at that time. And so we need to
let's go forward. Let's go ahead.
We need to go ahead, and we need to remove this nonsense, this chain around our necks. We need to just remove it. We need to shake it off. We need to go back to the local community. We got to take control of this. But the first thing we got to do is run these clowns out of here, because we can't go anywhere while they're here, and there's not that many of them.
There isn't.
No, you know.
Here's the thing. There's not many of them, but they spend their day plotting and planning how to keep the little bit of power they got, whereas you and I spend our day trying to feed our family.
Well, that's it. The idea is to keep everyone so busy that the only time they have is to look at anything that would be considered news or whatever. Is they come home from work, they're tired, they might flick on the TV and they'll see a story that is set up for them called news, or they'll pick up a newspaper and read it. They don't have time to go into delve into the background of the story or what it's attached to or anything like that. So it's just, they're tired, and you know, when you're tired, your mind is more susceptible, more open, okay? Because you're not thinking critically because you're tired.
Not only that, Ron, but all these news shows every news show have, you know, endless amounts of periodic breaks. Every time like a break comes in or goes out, they use all kinds of swirling discs and countdowns. You don't see them with your eye, but if you slow them down, there's countdowns. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you've been conditioned for years to respond subliminally to these countdowns. You don't know it, but you have. You don't, maybe not have, but people that like to stay informed, so they watch Fox News all day. Well, first of all, if you're watching it all day, you can't be too informed because the information would tell you got to have a job. But, you know, people that watch, the people that they come home, they spend their day at work, they come home. I mean, families are totally different. When I was a kid, there was a period of time when Dad got home to when dinner was ready. That was when we sat down and the news came on. And then when dinner was ready, the news went off, and then afterwards we watched Jeopardy or whatever, MASH or Carol Burnett or whatever show was on back then.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, supper at our house was somewhere between 5 and 5:30 every day, and we did what we did, and I mean, the family was more connected then than it is now. There's latchkey kids didn't come along when I was a kid; it hadn't really arrived yet. So but as long as the family isn't there to give guidance to the children, if the children are being looked after by a state agency, well, because mom's off working, or worse still, everybody's shift working. Uh, so the state has control of the child, and the parents don't have any input to speak of to the children anymore. So the state just creates what they want to create.
Well,
And
yeah, and then parents watch the news, and they get, totally taken over by subliminal hypnotic suggestion, and next thing you know, they think their neighbor might be ISIS.
yeah, that's the new one, eh?
Yeah,
I remember when I was a young buck. It was anybody that was protesting the Vietnam War was a commie sympathizer, or
which is true. Just
or
kidding.
whatever. And well, all these wars are constructive, but not looking at it's
So are
either
all the
it's always
revolutionary
it's well,
actions.
JJ, it's always been this thing. You're either with us. I mean, Bush said this right over and over.
But
Either you're with us or you're against us, right?
yeah.
Attitude, which is a split, right? Which is democracy, to keep the commoners confused and divided. That's all it's about. So, but have you not seen? You've been at this for quite a while.
Simone, I say,
Have you not seen over the last few years um, more people starting to say, what the hell's actually going on here?
yeah, I have,
Starting to look
and I've
around.
also seen a lot more people start to realize that, you know, Republican, Democrat, they're all parasites. They still stick to the party thing. Well, look, man, I just gotta, I've gotta feel the same way. I remember when I first started, you and I discussed it privately, watching the Aaron Russo movie and, realizing for me anyway, at any rate, you brought it up because it was like you were reflecting from the past fondly but at any rate, I was just floored. I couldn't believe, you know what I mean? It was hard for me to, and then secondly, I had a hard time to admit that, people that I may have looked up to. It was just really hard transition for me to understand what really was going on in the world and how. But there's going to be some people that'll just they're just going to stay in that. Well, at least my guy for that isn't as bad as your guy for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I get Vaseline rub or something. Don't you got icy hot.
Well,
It's just really all it is. It's really they both politicians say we're just going to stick the tip in, and then they shaft you.
yeah, and
Put it,
but I'm finding people. I had one guy say to me one time that I was talking about right or left. I said, I was running an election at the time, and not because I want to be a politician. That was never going to happen. Just so I get out and talk to people and show people on these all candidate meetings just how daft these party politicians really are, and it was fun, and I recommend it to everyone. It's really cheap entertainment.
well, yeah,
Um,
and there is. Hey, look, man, because of the internet, it really is happening. I mean, whether it's, do I think that it's going to change that we're going to stay in the current system and then all of a sudden there's going to be honest politicians and the government's going to shrink itself? No, I don't. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure that that the system's going to crash. But again, the hopeful thing is a lot of people starting to realize that It's not us that's destroying the planet, it's them. And I know that it sucks to always use the word them because everybody wants names, but I just say if you want the names, go to your town hall, start there, because they're
Well,
just as corrupt as the guys. If you don't hold, if they're just as corrupt if you let them be, because those are the people right up in town. Those are the guys who, they can't avoid you all the time.
that's the
They're
beauty
more
of it. They
apt.
can't, you know where they are. You know
Yeah,
they're implementing the agenda set down by the internationals, globalists, bankers, lawyers, whatever. You know that they are implementing every single day. They're scheming to implement the next stage of that agenda. And that agenda is to run you off the land and into a box by a rail line in order to save the planet. That's the game on, and they're doing it at the local levels. So
yeah, they are.
they're available to you. They're a phone call away, right? You know where your city council sits. Go to it, right?
I recommend somebody go. I mean, I recommend you bring Pepto Bismol with you, but go to a city council meeting because you see corruption in action. If you live in a city, Syracuse or larger, you know, you're gonna you just see
You will
just
be
sit there.
sick. You
You will
will need
see
your
corruption
Pepto.
in action. You will see corporations and government officials as they commingle together and extract money from the population.
It's blatant now. They don't even make if you walk in there as a so-called citizen and you have a beef with what's going on as far as this corporations getting preferential treatment and running over your neighbor's house or something, if you go in there, they will stand you down, okay? But then you watch when the corporation comes forward to speak to the council. Would you like us to lick your boots? Is the attitude, right?
Yeah, how
So
much
yeah, you're exactly right there.
but still do it. I mean, still do it. If you see something wrong and you don't say it's wrong, then you're saying it's right. And I just don't, whether we can say, whether, whether we could all live in, like Wally Beaver or,
Don't go there. That
you know
scared
what
me.
I'm
That
saying?
show.
Well, that seems to me what everybody thinks that a life should be like. Hi,
Well,
Mom. Golf, Ma.
talk about a construction, eh? That I don't think that I watched that show I think once or twice when I was a kid, and I said that is a spooky show. uh, that's not normal. No, this is the thing. We're back into if America was the great experiment way back when. Then I think maybe it's time that we start working towards the next great experiment. How will it work? Who knows?
Revolution and the
What's it going to
revolutionary
look like?
spirit.
Who knows? But
Sorry.
we do know, JJ, what it's going to look like if we allow these guys to continue with their program. We know what that's going to look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this idea of fear of the unknown should be a no-go for everybody. You should embrace the unknown because it's a new adventure, right? The rural land. I encourage everybody just walk out of the cities. Just walk the hell out. I mean, I was in the city. I had to go give a talk in the city, and it's a city like around 300,000 people in Ontario, and it used to be just a lovely city. And now it looks like every other damn city, right? It's definitely not the city I remember. There's a lot of strife there now. There's a lot of poverty there now. America. We discussed this before. I think. I mean, if you get up in a plane and fly north, south, east, west in America, you'll find out that except for the ring cities, place is empty.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
it's absolutely
Yeah,
empty.
absolutely.
So, that's maybe where our new experiment has to take place. We just have to vacate. The reason they want you in the city is that you're easily controlled in the city. You're not easily controlled out in the countryside. When people get out in the countryside into small communities, they tend to talk to each other, unlike in the cities.
Exactly.
And they get to thinking in the country, not like the cities. And it becomes,
You
it
move to the
makes,
country, you become a right wing radical.
well, they're not right wing. They're not right wing radicals. Well, that's what they get
That's
labeled
what we
as.
get labeled
Yeah,
as.
yeah,
'Cause we
yeah.
don't want-
But they are people who understand right from wrong.
Right, right.
And so, where every small town used to have their community hall, and they would have, tear 'em down discussions about what their community needed or didn't need. I mean, people were involved then. Now we just listen to the radio, watch the TV, and read the newspapers. I mean, I actually had one
You
guy.
got a guy for that.
Well,
That's
I had
everybody's-
one guy. I had one guy tell me that he was really informed, and I was really impressed because he was so informed.
This ought to be good.
And I asked him how it was he considered himself much more informed than the rest of the people. Well, he said it's simple. I read both the right wing paper and the left wing paper. Oh, so you're like in the Bassomatic there, right? You've just
Yes,
blended it all, right?
right.
Like that's informed. I mean, that's not informed. That's super stupid.
Well, it is. It's
Uh,
just part of the revolutionary. I mean, look, I don't know how I can express this aptly. The revolutionary spirit is always funded at the top, man. Whether it be Black Lives Matter or transsexuals or gays or whatever it's always people. I mean, why would you listen to some guy in a $3,000 suit come in and tell you how things could be better for you, or how you're getting screwed by him, essentially, and then think that person has your best intentions at heart? They don't. They start these little revolutions. They just keep us ants, squirming around for the ant bait, and while they just sit up there and
laugh their asses
yeah,
off at
and
us.
then pick us off one at a time when
You
they're
know,
hungry.
that I think irritates me more than anything. If people would understand that, you got Hillary Clinton or whoever is running on the Republican side, or wherever country you're in, because there's only two main parties in any country. That this thing that Hillary Clinton did in New York, besides making me want to vomit. When they're done with that, they go back to their offices. They review what was said. They review the reactions they got, how much it cost them to get that reaction, and
Yeah.
then they sit down and they have some really, really good food that you likely can't afford on your kitchen table, and probably sit down with a cigar and some of the best, finest scotch on the planet, and laugh their asses off at you. Now, what's it take to get that? Why would you even attend one of these things? Now, I don't know, JJ, if you ever saw that clip where Walter Cronkite, with that deep America's voice in the news or whatever, I don't know if you ever saw that clip where he was accepting the Norman Cousins Award from the World Federalists after he retired. And during that acceptance, he said, he had to try and balance what he was talking about when he was on the news. But and they had asked him years before to become the president or whatever of the World Federalist Association. This is the guy that's doing your news. He said in that acceptance speech that he was happy or glad to sit now at the side of Satan. And then we have a congratulations from Hillary Clinton saying how great a job he's done, right? Now, how is it this same woman is standing there in frickin' New York where they took down the towers? Oh, yeah, that was the Republicans when the towers went down, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Okay, maybe that makes sense. But how do people even? I mean, how can, after all of these years, anybody believe anything that comes out of these people's mouths?
the funny thing is nobody does really.
Then we're well on our way to fixing the problem.
Funny thing is I think that's not. I don't believe that in a way. Everybody agrees that politicians are all lying, thieving, scumbags, liars. That they should all be tried. They should all be, tried and convicted. But these same people go out and vote for these same fucking parasites every
I
cycle.
know. What's the logic behind that?
Because, dude, they keep us in this. I'm telling you, it's called. There's a thing. There's a revolutionary type. I'm kind of into this right now. But the thing of it is you got. What I've always said is beware of the revolution and the revolutionary, because you know what? In the end, it's not the common guy. Nothing ever gets better for you and me during, after, or before this revolution that everybody wants.
I agree with you 100%.
So what we
on
got
that.
is just, you know what? You're a free man. You are a single free entity, and just be that way. Obviously, we're stuck in a situation where you have people who think that they have this supremacist ideology. They're the ruling elites. They're the political class. They're the corporate class. They're the Jews of the world. They think that we were all created to serve them, and that you can rub two coins together and they will copulate and make a third coin. And, instead of working hard and to earn, they figure they can take two pieces of money, rub them together, and make a third piece of money. And a lot of people fall for that magic.
Well, yeah, the thing is that most people understand hard work. They understand why they're working. What I don't understand is why they don't understand that they're being robbed.
I think they do, Ron. I just think that people are afraid to have their door kicked in by a bunch of goons with machine guns. As irrational as that might seem.
But there's that to me is the answer, right? And that's why the communities have to come together.
That's right, dude.
Okay, once a community comes together, nobody's going to kick your door down because nobody's going to allow it.
That's right.
Okay, and that comes to the simple statement of no. Okay,
60, 70 years ago, Ron. Do you think that what would the people in your neighborhood do if a bank came in and all of a sudden in a neighborhood that had like 40 families, 15 of them were for sale and the bank foreclosed on their homes? The entire community would get together and say, wait a minute, you're not kicking our entire community out of their homes. We're not having this.
Exactly.
None of that could have happened. None of these things could have happened until they started breaking down the family.
That's it. That was there's lots of stuff written on that, and they're planning to purposely destroy the family unit.
Well, somebody mentioned Joan Vian in the chat, and she would be a perfect example. Some of her stuff when central banks ruled the world. She was an advocate for women's rights, and she's been to I believe like 200 world conferences. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Where I'm at, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but where I'm at, is one, you're an individual. You have the freedom, you have dominion. That's the game. Now, what I noticed, and if I said this to you before, let me know, but I come originally from the Ottawa Valley, and it's all rural, a lot of lumber and whatnot. Not so much anymore. They've shut most of that down. Can't cut a tree anymore, even though they grow again. But that's not the deal. But it was a conditioning situation that I saw. My uncle was down here. He was 80 years old at the time. And him and his son-in-law was up in the bush. And while they're up there, now this is why I want, we got to get to the youth as quickly as possible. Now here's an 80-year-old man and his 40-year-old son-in-law. Now they're in the bush, and the tree police show up and explain to my uncle that he can't cut this particular tree. Now he looks at him like, who are you? Well, we're with the ministry. Uh-huh. So what are you doing here? Well, you have to call us before you can cut a tree, then we'll come up from Ottawa and we'll go through your bush and we'll mark what trees you can and can't cut. And he's looking out there going, huh? Meanwhile, Pierre, this 40-year-old, his son-in-law is telling the story, and the whole time he's telling the story, he said, I'm thinking, I wish your uncle would shut up because we're going to get in trouble. This is his mindset. This is what was taught to him.
Exactly.
Now, my uncle, who's 80, is looking at these guys like, who the hell are you to tell me anything? The 40-year-old's going, shut up or they'll get us in trouble. You'll get us in trouble. So this goes on for a while. And he says, no. He says, I bought this bush when I was 20. I'm 80. Look around. Nobody's going to tell me how to look after a bush. So have a nice day and hit the road. And all the time there's fear in Pierre's voice as he's telling this story. Yeah. And then finally my uncle says, my land, get off, don't come back. And this was his finishing statement. And I own a gun. Now, Pierre just goes into conniption fits. Oh, this is good. Now we're going to jail, right? and the ministry guys say, is that a threat? That's what I always like. I felt threatened, right? Is that a threat? And he says, there's no threat implied or intended. I just simply made a statement. My land, get off, don't come back, and own a gun. There's no threat in that. I hit the road. At which point my aunt, who was listening, who is, I don't know if she's 5 feet tall, pumps her fist in the air, and these are not young people, folks, pumps her fist in the air and goes, and that gun ain't registered. Now, are these people radical right-wing nutcases? No.
Yes,
they're not. They are the kindest, sweetest people you will ever meet. They wouldn't hurt a fly. They go to church every Sunday. They don't quite get that part of it, but they are people of very deep faith. They understand right from wrong. They have a moral compass, and that's the way it is.
I found the problem. No one has informed them that they're dirty European, white, racist, planet raping, resource stealing, murderous villains and fiends yet. That's all. They just have to come to that understanding, dude, and then they'll be
fine after that.
Permission to cut a fucking tree on their property.
Then they'll realize just how evil they really are.
It's the same way here. Can't cut. I mean, I do it. I don't care. Let them come and talk to me, but you literally are supposed to get permission to cut a tree down here.
Well, it's the same here. I mean, it's gone off the deep end, right? Now, this is all about control, but who controls your life? Not you.
You do. Well,
that same neck of the woods, JJ. This is over on the Quebec side of the river. Just little East communities. The biggest community along that stretch is like 1,400 people. It's got the main hospital and all that kind of stuff, but. They came into that town, this is many years ago, they came into that town when they came out with the new language laws, and this came through the legislature. So they have a piece of paper. It's all about paper, right? This paper says you have to do this. This paper says you can't cut that tree unless you give me so much money. It's all about paper. It's all about lawyers. So they came into that town, and they said, new language laws, and it's a split community. It's part French, part English, and nobody cares. Everybody gets along. It's a small town, like a community's supposed to get along. I don't give a sweet bejesus what language you put your sign in. Put in whatever language you want. So we have English signs, French signs, probably got some Portuguese signs there. I don't know. But the language police came in and they said, new rules. You have to remove all English signs from all businesses, and they have to be French only. And the people looked at them just like my uncle looked at the tree police and said, who are you? What are you doing here? Are you stupid or what? Who are you to come and tell us what to do? And they explained to them, no, this is a community that's always been here long before you ever showed up. And we like our community the way it is, and we don't like to impose anything on each other. We get along, everything's fine. Well, sorry, but it says here on the piece of paper, this is what you got to do. So the people told them, take a hike. We ain't doing it, right?
Right.
So they went away, and they came back, and they said, you haven't changed your signs. I said, we don't intend to. Now, see, this is to me what I call the moral high horse. Okay? Those people in that community said no. Okay? And they meant it. And now the government comes back and they try to get the people into negotiation. Well, okay, what we'll do then, in this case, we'll let you keep the English, but it has to be in really small fonts, and the French font has to be huge, so people don't really notice English font. We could do that for it. We'll do that. And the people, they said, what did we tell you last time? We ain't changing squat. Hit the road. They came back a third time, and I just happened to be out west at the time. I turned on a TV, and here I'm watching this news story about Shawville, Quebec, this little town or this little area where my parents grew up. And here is on the news that the entire community came out. They had old guys in wheelchairs, they had mothers pushing baby buggies, and they just told those people straight out, no, hit the road and don't come back. And as far as I know, they still have the signs the way they want them. So the idea is if you want to change something and you're right, you get up on your moral high horse, and if you plan on winning, get up on that horse and don't come back down, because once you're on the horse, it forces somebody to blink. And if you know you're not going to blink, if your community's not going to blink, somebody's going to have to blink. It's going to have to be them. And as always, I always look for patterns, and the pattern is always the same. They will come back and try to get you to negotiation. You don't negotiate because you already won.
Right.
Okay? And that's how you fix this nonsense.
Well, yeah, but if you
Take your paper and wipe your butt with it, because I don't care what lawyer, what legislation put this paper through. It is harming our community or the individuals in the community. So save a tree. Don't pass legislation and write a bunch of paper.
Yeah, and don't take federal money. I mean,
no.
I try, dude, until I'm blue in the face. But everybody, the firemen, the library, the school, the highway department, everybody gets freaking federal money. So I mean, that's part. It's hard. It's hard to get. It's going to be hard to free your town. But really, the message is getting out. Ron, I don't want to keep calling you dude, because
dude's good.
Not out west, but
dude.
We're all dudes, I suppose. But hey, stop.
But this is the thing.
Town. Try to get. I've tried. My town thinks. I mean, these are people I grew up with, but they mostly think that I'm a lunatic and that I'm against everything, and I'm not. But I'm not for any of the things that, any of the pieces of paper. Every time they send me a new letter saying I gotta register my dog, I send it back, return to sender. Not registering my frickin' dog. I pay, you know what I mean? I do enough. Everything should be voluntary.
I haven't picked up my mail.
Let them pass all the laws they want. They're voluntary. Most of them are unlawful, anyways.
Well, they are unlawful, and like I said, the only because they're not law, right? Color of and force of law. If you took the force away, nobody would abide by any of this stuff. Okay, they abide by these so-called laws, these rules and regulations, which are nothing more than corporate rules and regulations. They nobody would pay any attention to them if they weren't backed up by somebody, some threat, some fear in the mind of people that somebody's going to come and jackboot their door down, drag them away.
That's it right there. That's the only reason. That's the only reason people don't use people don't use their own logic because they're afraid to get their door kicked in. I mean, we know that we're not. That's it. You just said it right there. It's because people are afraid to get their door kicked in, and they actually see it. They're like, "This is ridiculous." And if they didn't have guns pointed at my head, I would pay it no mind. Yeah,
and so now, now that we've discussed that, now when you go out to vote, okay, it's like you're voting for the group that has the gun pointed at your head, and it doesn't matter which group be it right or left, that gun's still pointed at your head. Now, why would you vote for somebody they believe they have the authority to come and drag you out of your house or drag you out of your car or shoot your dog because it made somebody with a gun feel nervous, why would you even go to the polls? You're just encouraging this behavior. So I would like to see the vote in 2016 in the United States, and we're having a vote here this fall. I would like to see the winner win by, it was a very close vote this year. The winner won by only 3 votes. But then again, there was only 3 votes cast. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, or I would like to see, 6,000 people running for town hall, or
well, that's
300 million people running for president. We don't have enough. I mean, if we're even gonna try to exist in this system, there has to be more to it. There has to be more choices.
Yeah. This is funny. This is in the chat. Only Canadians say sorry.
Sorry. I say sorry.
It's funny. I worked.
Posers. I did actually find out what poser meant.
I went down to work after Hurricane Andrew. That's a long time ago, because they'd run a recession here and killed most of our businesses here, and there was no money to be made around here. So I went down there, and it's funny because I mean, those are Americans. The people I met were Americans, man. I didn't meet any politicians. I did keep notes when I was down there because of the corruption I saw. And I actually went to the Miami Herald and gave them my notes and said, I would like to do a 2 or 3 part series on the corrupt system down here that's really, messing people up, trying to get back in their houses after the hurricane. And the guy from Miami Herald looked through the notes, and he said, we ain't printing this. I go, why? It's the truth. And the guy at Miami Herald looks at me and goes, the truth? We don't give a damn about the truth, right?
We look like.
Yeah, what do we look like? Who do you think's running this show? The truth?
Hey,
No.
Bob, this guy's talking about the truth.
Yeah.
What?
But the only I had a guy down there stick a big hunting knife in my face. Now he was a Vietnam vet, and I worked with some of these guys, and they do have. Well, how could you not have, right? You can't be put in that situation at 17, 18, 19 years old, whatever the age group is, and come out of that unscathed. But it was, that was kind of a freaky moment for me. But, I just ended up telling the guy that, well, he already knew me. We'd been on a job together down there, but he was jacked on something. And he had his trailer backing behind this aluminum company that we've been working for. And my partner from New York that I'd hooked up with down there, he had his trailer in there as well. I was living somewhere else. And I went in to ask him something at night, and it was dark, and I had to go by this guy's trailer that was a Vietnam vet, and this guy come plowing out the door with his big hunting knife stuck in my face, right? And he was right jacked up, and he's going to cut me up and that, and I kept telling the guy, would you put that stupid thing away? Like, who I am, you twit. And he was really getting ugly. And so it's like a mad dog, right? You're in a bad situation. So I just told the guy, I said, you know who I am. Get your shit together. Snap out of it. And if you don't, I'm going to take that knife. I'm going to ram it so far down your frickin' throat, you'll never find it again. Now, that's kind of a, what do you call that, a bluff maybe? But he did. He finally snapped out of it. But I met some, the American people I met down there, I was down there for 3 months, living in a campground, working with American people. And I got to tell you, man, I was kind of disappointed because, America, the land of the brave and the land of the free. And the corruption I saw and the it was almost like a, there's not much we can do attitude. I thought, where's the kick-ass attitude of my American brothers and sisters? What happened to that? You know, where did
Everybody
that go?
wants to talk about it, but nobody really.
Well, so, the only one that I kicked out of there was a fellow Canadian. That was a severe jackass, that boy. Everybody in the campground when I come home from work, so, oh man, you got a fellow Canadian moved in here, right? So I went and had a beer with him, and he had hired an American guy, young guy, and I'm listening to the way he's talking to this young guy, talking him down and that, oh, you're just a laborer, and I'm the important guy here. And I hate that. I don't like that in people. We're all created equal as far as I'm concerned. And I don't like that kind of talking down to each other. And I told that Canadian, I said, you know what? We had a couple beers. And I said, you know what? When I come home from work tomorrow, don't be here. I said, you give Canadians a bad name, buddy. And lo and behold, when he's going, I go anywhere I want, rah, rah, rah. And he was gone when I got back from work that night. I don't know if it helps. I'm 6'5". I don't know what that's all about, but
That probably helped a little bit.
well, I'm just not one that ever took crap, right? And I'm no good at it. You don't sound like someone takes crap.
No, I got beat up a lot, but I don't take a lot of crap either.
No, but you know right from wrong. You know
Yes,
a
I
con
do.
from an honest deal, right? And it seems like people, people tell me, oh, they didn't charge me for that. Well, they're ripping you off. Well, I know they're ripping me off, but I called them. They told me there's nothing I can do, so I guess I just have to pay them. I don't even know where that attitude comes from.
Years of being, I don't either, because I know my grandparents. It's like whenever I went over to my grandma's house, she was on the phone telling some utility company what was what. I mean, people just aren't like that anymore. I am, but and other people are, but not many. Most people are just, I guess that's how it is, huh? Well, okay.
Well, they've been trained through the education system, right?
No.
Like your grandparents and my grandparents and great-grandparents, they weren't subjected to this kind of propaganda through the school system. They were taught right and wrong from a young age. If the local school didn't teach them, I mean, the basics of life in the school system was read, write, and then arithmetic, right? And that's about it, folks. If you can read and you can do math, you're about good. You're about good to go.
Yeah.
The rest of it is propaganda. The rest of it is used to get control of you by telling you this is the way you must think, this is where the line you must stand in, and yada 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 yada. So your actual education is very short, and then you move into the propaganda mode for the next however many years you're in school. The longer you're in school, and if there's university grads and not listening to this, don't take this wrong. But the longer that you are in the school system or the education system,
oh man,
the less likely you have the capacity to think clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, the higher education is really just an assault on intellectual capital, as Catherine Austin Fitts would put it, like things like Common Core. They're a destruction of the next generation's intellectual capital. And I don't know if anybody can understand what I mean is they have, same as us, we have less of the same tools to deal with, social issues, any issues really than our parents' parents, because, in the 70s, they created another federalized, centralized federal program here, Department of Education. And that right there was an assault on my generation's intellectual capital. And so now you have people that go to school till they're 25 years old, owe $30,000-$40,000 in debt, and they work at Walgreens or.
Well, a lot of the university thing is about vetting them.
Right. I mean,
And
if you're
those who are really
Satanist,
indoctrinated go on to be
you move on.
professors or politicians or lawyers, and the other ones that may have been asking questions, those are the guys that end up at Walmart or flipping burgers or whatnot.
Right. They end
It's
up
a straight
angry
vetting
old men.
process. Yeah, so all they're doing is they're growing minions for their propaganda machine.
Well, they
And
want to see who's the real sodomite and who's not. If you're not a true sodomite, you really can't move up in the system.
right.
That system, you can only get to that top of that system if if somebody has something on you. If you have to be a degenerate. You have to be a sociopathic degenerate or you're not welcome. You don't make it. The machine destroys you. But if you're willing to rape little boys, in a secret room after a dinner party, there's a chance for you. You may you may get to the state senate, and if you carry water for somebody at the state senate, if you play by the rules and you don't say something about something that everybody knows, then you may move up even further. But that's the deal. Even with the local politicians, the highest you're going to get is maybe in your town, as a politician without being very corrupt and without somebody having something on you. I mean, that was the entire function of the FBI, was to get politicians and corporate businessmen, leaders in compromising positions, so that the same thing that the IMF does. John Perkins says in all of his stories. I'm referring to the Diary of an Economic Hitman or Confessions of an Economic Hitman. The IMF does the same thing as the FBI did. They go in, they get, they find corrupt government leaders in poor third world nations. They give them these outrageous loans, give them all this money where very few, very rich people get even richer in that country. And all that money gets funneled into American corporations to come in and build roads and hospitals and schools and dams and electricity that none of the people in that country can even afford. And then they have to vote with us in the Security Council. It's the same thing. It trickles down all the way down. And if you look, you can catch it before the big plop hits your town hall, because that's where people are the most accountable, because they do have to go to the grocery store. Unless you're in a big place that has huge gated communities. I live in a small town, and I know where the mayor lives.
That's the whole thing. That's what I'm trying to tell people, right? Is that the only place that we can really get at, as you call it, the machine, is in your local community. You can't go and bother a Kissinger, although I would like to sit down, and I would just love to sit down with these guys. Bring me Kissinger, bring me Brzezinski, bring me Soros, bring me Rockefeller.
Well, and that's why
these
justice
guys,
has to be selectively enforced, Ron, because people are like, well, why there's enough evidence to try. If there's enough evidence right now, any court in America, even these administrative courts, would convict Dick Cheney, George Bush of war crimes, of treachery, of all these fucking high misdemeanors and crimes. The evidence is there in it, but it's selectively enforced all the way down the line, and that's why you only have a chance right here at your local level to make any kind of
right. And your local level politicians, are accessories to the crime. Okay, they're actively involved in the crime.
Yes.
The fact that every local community and every school board, the school boards are putting in through Common Core, and the municipalities are putting through Agenda 21, and this is a crime against humanity. Well, they say we're doing it to save the planet. Well, it's a crime against humanity, and I don't like to use the word humanity because that's Hugh of. But anyways, so they are complicit in the global crime, and it doesn't matter if you live in upstate New York, or you live in Sydney, Australia, or you live backwoods England, or wherever it is you live, or right here where I live in Canada. These people are harming you. and they're harming you from your local level. They are the so-called what would you call it? The upper echelon or whatever of your community. These are the people that are supposed to be looked up to. That's bad. That's bad propaganda again. You have no reason to look up to these people. Why would you look up to someone and show anyone respect who is implementing a program that is designed to destroy your future, your child's future, your grandchild's future?
You can be ordered to show cause immediately, almost at every given point in your life. But when you turn around and try to get any official, any bureaucratic official to show cause or even to maneuver within the bounds of due process, you're barking up anymore. Now it's a completely dead horse, barking up a sumac tree.
No, but that's I haven't heard that word in a long time. The good old sumac.
Who will save the planet? That's my favorite songs off the Edgar Winter White Trash album.
Yeah.
Who will save the planet? Who will it be? Well, it'll be me. I'm gonna stop waiting for somebody else to do it.
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with our planet, except for these lunatics that think they're running this show. That's the only problem with the planet. People do not war against each other. Okay, people are generally good people, and the attitude of the community dictates the attitude of the people in the community.
Oh.
So when your government brings the drugs into your community, when the government takes your jobs away from your community, when the government is feeding your community a bunch of pharmaceuticals, they are not there helping your community. They're destroying your community. Okay, now somebody's jacked up on pharmaceuticals and he needs some pills and he ain't got a job because they closed the factory. What do you got? You got strife and violence and robberies, all constructed.
Right, and those are all symptoms of a problem, and and that's what all these wars are against, is the symptoms. War on drugs, war on poverty, war on literacy.
Why don't we just have a war on the
war on the actual problem that caused these symptoms?
Yeah, and it's simple, right at your local.
It's simple, dude. You give them some food, you give them some water, and you leave.
You can't do that, JJ. You get a ticket.
Life.
Well, you get a ticket.
Yeah,
can you just imagine this scenario? You're walking down the street, and there's a homeless guy or his family's living in a car, and they've been chucked out of their home. Their jobs have been taken away from them and sent to China, where they say that nobody can compete with them. That's your international trade agreements. That's why you don't have jobs in your own country anymore, because they took all the jobs where they had the cheapest labor. So they control all the goods now. But can you imagine? You walk.
They get they still get to be considered. They still get all of the favor that comes with being an American company. You know what I mean? Everybody still thinks that General Electric is an American, that all these companies are still American companies. Right. Well, it's an American company. No, it's not. It's a global company, and most of its labor force is in a third world nation.
Yeah. When I was working down there, I'd never seen a DeWalt tool here, and when I went down there and saw the yellow DeWalts, I'd heard about these things. They're supposed to be primo tools, and I was working with some guys. I said, "This is the primo American manufactured tool, right?"
Junk.
And he says, "Well, no, that old one in my box this is a piece of garbage." Well, how did it go from being a primo to a piece of garbage? Well, they moved it offshore.
Yep.
Okay. So every time they move a job offshore, you have a man, a woman, or family that's been put into a position of stress.
And they'll do desperate
and this further disintegrates our communities. So
half our kids are gay and transgender.
Well, yeah, we have here in Canada now in the public well, in the public schools here, there's a big push on for, I think some of them have already done it, transgendered washrooms in the public schools.
Yes, yes. They're doing it here. They're trying to do it on Navy frickin' ships.
What?
That's what I heard, man. Because you know, I mean, what I'm speechless, Ron.
I ain't joining the Navy anytime
You
soon. I'll
caught me
tell you
off
that.
guard, man. Join the Navy. Be a seaman in a cigar.
Oh my goodness. Caitlyn Jenner should be heading over to Obama's
She's a
house
fucking
soon.
hero. Didn't you know that?
What?
She's a hero. It's heroic to do what she did. He did.
She didn't
But
do
why I call
anything.
him she?
I hate to break it to all you folks that are considering this nonsense. You see, Bruce Jenner was born a male. Bruce Jenner will die a male. Okay?
And listen, and
You
that's not to say,
cannot turn a male into a female, and you cannot turn a female into a male. Okay? It is that simple. And this idea that this is all this nonsensical new age garbage crap nonsense that's being applied now in grade 1, 2, and 3 to your kids and your grandkids.
yeah, straight up Jew bullshit.
Now, where are you people as parents and grandparents? Why aren't you down at the school board en masse putting your foot down? Either this agenda this curriculum gets changed ASAP, or you're going to have a bunch of empty schools.
Yeah. No, they won't. They ran me out of it. I tried. When they were, I went down to.
No,
I have battled with my school really since I was like 13. But,
yeah, that's.
They run me out of there. They don't want to hear it. The first thing is I was trying to get in there to the what's the frickin' people's school board there, whatever, the school moms and all that. I tried to get in there and and just talk to these women about why on earth they want to make it mandatory for me to give my daughter a shot, for Gardasil, and I was very concerned, and I'm in there, and I mean, these people who I know are looking at me like I'm Adolf Hitler. Like,
I know. I've been through all that. But the
it
thing
doesn't
is,
faze me because a lot of those people now they see me and they've had a chance to, well, first of all, the shock of what I was saying has had a chance to wear off. And those that aren't benefiting from, I mean, there's a lot of people that benefit. It's not just the administration or the staff at the school. I don't even know why a school would need like 14 or 15 janitors and a full-time, HVAC guy that spends, 7 out of 8 hours a day in sitting at a room when he might have to adjust an air conditioner, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But there's all these salaried people that have been since the 70s and the department since the money started coming in from the federal government. If they can just print as much money as they want, then why do they need our taxes? Because it's not about money, it's not about services, it's about transfer of wealth. It's about because a small group of people couldn't conquer an entire land. They couldn't conquer the entire continent from the East Coast, so they sent us to conquer it first. And then they steal it from us.
that's it. That's it. You just nailed it right on the head. I've said that so many times. Our forefathers that came here to this land, Canada, way back when they came here for the right of property. That's what they were promised.
Dutch East India.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the same thing happened in America, happened in Australia, happened everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And everything every improvement, get this straight now, people, every improvement that was ever put on these lands, everything that was ever constructed or built on these lands was built by us. Okay? No politician built anything.
Yeah, not us meaning white people, us meaning the people.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
not the indigenous people. I mean,
if you're a white man and you're an ass, I'll tell you so.
Right.
If you're a black man and you're a good guy, I will tell you so. And vice versa. Okay? I don't care where you came from. I don't care I don't care much about you. But if you, and that's the problem, JJ. Most of these people, this whole idea of multiculturalism, the people are being played against each other. This whole racism thing is just another game that was constructed.
It's a game. It's called the revolutionary spirit. It's totally manipulated. It's totally, absolutely, 100% thought out, using the Hegelian model, and always, 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 there's one small group of people that always benefits from revolutions all around and from revolutionaries all around, because it keeps the eyes, it keeps the attention focused on. It's obvious because it's horrible fucking things that are going on. People starving, people. I mean, look at this. How horrible is this that 66 million people starved in the Ukraine, right? Because a certain group of people were who refused to work. A certain group of people who thought that that money could copulate, that you could be successful by, being in money husbandry, I guess you may want to call it, usury, compound interest, this kind of thing. And so they were given one thing. They were saying, well, you can make alcohol. That's what happened to the Ukrainians. The Jews bought all their fucking farms. They took all their fucking harvest. They turned it into alcohol, sold it across the world. And then millions of people died as a result.
The farmers starved.
The farmers all starved.
Yeah.
66 million of them.
Well, how many farmers? How many farmers?
Revolutionary spirit, because they started this revolution against the ruling elites, because they just get this little revolutionary spirit going in again. First, they have to convince you that you're being screwed, which that's what all the Al Sharptons and the Alex Jones and all these people are out there for.
Yeah,
it's all part of an agenda. It's all part of this revolutionary. Let's keep them all.
Yeah, keep them all confused all the time, and we'll get what we want out of it, and they'll help us do it, and they will get sucked in, and they're going to be left holding the bag or no food or whatever.
And to be fair, it's not the only agenda, but for a disproportionate small portion of the population, it's a huge influence, and
Well, you're right. It always is based on a revolutionary idea, right? We're having a revolution in education, right? We're having a revolution in gender. We're having a revolution. It's always.
Yeah, it's great for the top revolutionaries. It's never so good for the for the lower ranks.
But just before we go, JJ, I want to get back to you at the school board real quick.
All right.
Now you had the same welcome as I did. When I started explaining stuff to the council and the police and the churches and that around here, okay, I become the most unpopular man here, without a doubt. I would have people yelling at me on the street, or threatening, and why don't you just die and be gone, right? All this kind of nonsense, because I dare to question things, and but that was then. Okay, and our memories, our minds work in such a fashion that that happened to me, and it happened to you. But I also believe that through all of this, we gained a great deal of knowledge, and that we need to go at it again, because I think we will find a different attitude among the people than we did 4 or 5 years ago. I really do believe that. I think people are looking for your leadership now.
Maybe.
It's coming. If it isn't there right now, it's coming.
Well, that's always been one of the points I'd like to make. I've always made, regardless of how. Listen, first of all, you're absolutely right, Ron. There's a lot of people that count on me, and they will count on me even more. I don't mean as my community leader, as my family leader, because of. Just that I'm a real guy, and I do have that spirit of freedom, and so I have to kind of be careful, because I do have a lot of people that count on me, my family members and my friends, because I'm there, man. Because I help them. I've helped, many people just navigate through the system because I've been through it. I understand how. The only way, again, you have to go back to these 80 movies. The only way to win the war is not to fight the fucking war to begin with.
Bingo.
Some cases, not in all cases, but
Well, it's just we are in a we just need to get our psychology a little bit. We are in a psychological war, and we just use our their tools against them, which is psychology.
and advertising.
Yeah, and so doing that. But I do find more and more people. I think what they did with the people like yourself, myself, and some other good researchers I know is that they frustrated them to the point where they weren't getting any proper feedback from people, and they eventually just said, you know what, you people are too stupid. I'm done with you, and that's what they're really hoping for. And what I've been trying to encourage good guys like you is we can't go there, because that's what they want. They want us to step back and say, you people are hopeless, right? And walk away from them. And
Right.
We can't do that.
No.
I have faith in people.
don't
I have
tempt
faith
you.
in the goodness of people. They're a little confused right now, but I do believe they'll come forward.
All right, Ron, let me. I'm going to mute my mic for a second so I can go get some coffee and drop.
Well, I'm out of here right now, JJ. I planned on doing this for about 15, 20 minutes with you, but I don't get to talk to too many guys like you. And,
Well, this is
I
what I'll
really
do is
appreciate that.
I'll hop off for a second and then.
Well, yeah, we're out of here
right.
anyways in a minute or so. So again, I want to thank JJ for being on here. It's my first show on UCY.tv. I want to thank Jules. I want to thank the people who encouraged me to come here. I want to thank the listeners. I want to thank the people in the chat. And especially today, I want to thank JJ. Huge thanks to him, a man who knows what's going on. We're going to be on this spot now, hopefully for a long time. And, I just want to... I want to thank the people in the chat too, because I've been in a lot of chats, and this one seems to be rather well behaved and pretty much on track for what we're talking about today, which is a refreshing change from what I've seen on other chats. So again, I want to thank all of those in the chat. The deal is, anyways, the show is called Game On. I'm your host, Ron Stevens, and we shall see you same hour, same time next week. And in about 1 minute, I think we're going to have the out music. So, anyways, to those in the chat and those listening, we have a lot of work ahead. Don't be disheartened. That's what they would like you to be. If you want to really feel alive, really alive.
All right, Ron, you want to hop on for a couple minutes with me? I'll let you. Or you got stuff to do?
Well, we can do that for a few minutes. And I don't hear any out music here, so I don't know exactly what's cooking.
Well, what we'll have to do is just hang up.
I'm going to disconnect and then
we take off.
Yeah, I have to get off of here.
Why don't I schedule something and just and we'll just do another show together one of these days.
Okay, that sounds good. Because
I know everybody likes you, Ron, and you found a great place to do a show here.
I'm really happy to be here. Trust me. So I don't know. Do we get out music or what?
Yeah, any second now it's going to kick in.
Okay.
It's 159, 158, 159.
Somewhere in here. Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, she did send me. No, I thought it was around 158, but first show, we'll catch it today, and then we'll know exactly when it kicks in. But no, I didn't. This is the first show I've done here, and I feel at home already. And that's a good thing. There's the music. Okay, folks, we're out of here. We'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place. Okay, thanks, JJ. We are gone.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No more than countries. Lie to your face